Good morning and welcome everyone. My name is Linton Harrington. I'm the education coordinator for the trustees of reservations out here.
And my name is Sam Penn, and I'm the property manager for the trustees of reservations.
So thank you all for coming and helping us out today. This property, Copicut Woods, is one of over 100 properties that are owned by the trustees of reservations all across Massachusetts. We're a statewide conservation organization that protects open space and tries to preserve the quality of life here in Massachusetts. And Copicut Woods is kind of unique because it's part of an even larger forest out here called the Bioreserve. And the Bioreserve includes Copicut Woods, it includes the Freetown State Forest, and several thousand acres of land that are owned by the city of Fall River, called the Watuppa Reservation, which protects the drinking water supply for the city. When you put these pieces all together, you get a forest that's almost 14,000 acres out here. So it's one of the largest continuous forests in Massachusetts. And we're excited to be partnered with the city and the state to protect all this land out here. If you've never been to the property before, there's some trail maps over there. You can help yourself. This property is open to the public every day. There's over 5 miles worth of trails. And we offer programs throughout the year. Volunteer days like this, but also nature walks, educational programs. So there's a spring event flyer in there, which will give you the rest of our events coming up through June. We've got everything from bird walks to kayak trips. In early May, we do a hike out here called the Big Walk, which is 14 miles. We basically hike from one side of the Bioreserve to the other. So it's 14 miles just to get across the length of this forest. Gives you an idea of just how big it is. The other thing over there is some information about the trustees. We are a nonprofit, membership-based organization, and so we depend on the support of individuals like you to continue the work that we do, protecting land, taking care of the land, making sure that it's open to the public, providing public access and education programs. So if you're not already a member, I invite you to join us and support the work that we do. And there's many benefits to membership, including free and reduced admission to all of our properties and programs. You get our quarterly magazine, which connects you to all of the activities across the state, lets you know what projects we're working on, and you'll get a property guide, which gives you detailed information on all of our 105 properties, different activities you can do there, how you can get there. So help yourself to any of the information over there, either now or at the end. This is actually a project that was started about 5 years ago. Atlantic white cedar is a tree that grows out here in swamps, and it's a tree that depends on disturbance in order to survive. It actually likes to have a periodic forest fire, or a hurricane, or logging can sometimes even help the cedar trees because they don't grow in their own shade. So in order for them to regenerate, they need to have some type of a disturbance come in, knock down the canopy, and open up a clearing where they can then begin to seed back in. And the seeds can live in the soil for a very long time, up to 100 years. So the seeds can actually just be sitting in the soil waiting for the right conditions in order to germinate and start to grow a new cedar tree. But what's happening now is we don't allow forest fires to burn anymore. There hasn't been a major hurricane out here since 1938 that really flattened the canopy. Cedar trees are very valuable because they're lightweight and rot resistant, so they were used a lot for shipbuilding back in the whaling days, and even still today a lot of luxury wooden boats are made of cedar because it naturally resists insects, but it's very lightweight, it's easy to work with. It's used a lot for construction, shingles, fence posts. So a lot of the cedar, what were historically cedar swamps, were cut and they were logged out. And another thing that stops them from coming back now is the deer population. They love to chew on cedar trees. It's one of their favorite winter food sources. So when the trees do start to grow in, if there happens to be a clearing, the deer will come and they'll browse the cedar trees away to nothing. So we have an existing swamp out here at Copicut Woods with some beautiful big 80-foot cedar trees. Some of them are over 100 years old. But when you look around in the understory, there's no small cedar trees growing in. So as the large trees come down, what's coming in underneath is red maple, which is another tree that grows in swamps out here. And there's nothing wrong with red maple except that it's very common. Where basically all the cedar trees are going over to red maple. And there are certain species that will only use the cedar tree for their habitat. There's a butterfly called the Hessel's hair streak, which has its sole host tree is Atlantic white cedar. So you lose the cedars, then that butterfly disappears. There's a lot of birds like cedar waxwings, Parula warblers, a lot of wildlife that uses these swamps. And plus they're a beautiful, unique tree. So we started a project here to try to maintain the cedar swamp and get some regeneration taking place. So we started growing cedar trees in a nursery just down the road inside a fenced-in area to protect them from the deer and get them to a size where we can now transplant them out here in the swamp. So we have about a dozen trees today that we've already got ready to go, about 4 feet tall. And because the best way to probably regenerate the swamp would actually be to do a burn out here, but because there are houses, this is still an urban forest, we're in Fall River right now, and there are houses dotted out here, so we can't really do a burn, but we've done some cutting to create a clearing that has enough sunlight so that these trees can get themselves established. So the plan is to head down the road. If you have a vehicle that has pretty good clearance, you can drive yourself, or I've had some people in the van. And what we're going to do is drive down to the Cedar Swamp Trail, park along the road, and then we can walk in from there. And we can use our little Kubota to bring in the trees and the materials that we're going to need. A little more about it, and you can kind of see what it actually looks like. We do have some trails that go in so you can actually take a little walk in and see some of these beautiful mature trees that are there. But today we're going to be helping them to and it says on the bottom,
I'll get an extra large. Might be.
Yeah. And so look for one that has.
Yeah, you know, which was, I mean, it was interesting to see his name on a particular.
Well, this is a site of an Atlantic white cedar restoration project. So we've been growing these little seedlings in a tree nursery for the past several years, and today we transplanted them out here into the swamp where they'll be able to grow into mature trees. Basically what's happening out here, you can see there is some mature cedars right over here. There's one sort of on the edge of this clearing, and we have about 200 mature cedars out here, but if you look underneath, there's no regeneration taking place because they won't grow in their own shade. So without any type of disturbance to clear out the maples, eventually the cedars are replaced by red maple out here as the dominant sort of swamp tree. So what we're doing is trying to create a clearing and plant some of these smaller trees out here to sort of be the next generation to maintain the cedar. So today we planted we planted a dozen trees with about 25 volunteers, and we have many more trees in the nursery, so this is going to be an ongoing project. We'll be doing, more plantings in the future.